And I have a question for you. Are you fragile? Are you weak? Do you see yourself as not strong? Or do you see yourself as if you are fragile, that means you're not strong? Or are you afraid to be fragile because you think that might not be safe? I know a lot of you, the answers could possibly be yes, because there's been something I've been going through lately where I've really been there's certain things that I've been struggling with. So I've really been taking like a deep dive into me, into what's going on with me and what's happening with me. I've also been going through a lot of changes in my life as well. And if you've been watching my videos, if you've been following along, you'll know about some of these changes. And you'll also know about that I've told the universe, bring it. Bring it on. Let's go. Let's do this. Now, sometimes when that happens, well, you get your wish, and it does. So as I mentioned in a previous video, be careful what you wish for. Want to know more about that? I'll put it in the link below. And by the way, I'm Sabrina with Begin Being, the channel dedicated, well, to you and to self-discovery. And as I was doing yoga this morning, I was really thinking about the concept of fragility. And one of the things that I've recently realized is that I've had a problem with being fragile. If you've seen my previous videos, I grew up in an environment where that was not safe. Being fragile was not safe. You had to be strong. You could not be seen as weak. And a lot of that had to do with my mom, and I actually saw her as weak. She was in a very physically abusive relationship, which was affecting me as well, physically, verbally, just a lot of mental and emotional abuse to go along with that, which then also, like I said, affected me and experiencing the abuse as well. Now, because of that, because I saw her as weak, because there were things I had to do, like when I was around 5 years old or so, I was running to the neighbor's house to call the police because she couldn't. She was afraid to go against him because she was afraid of the consequences. So as a young age, I was programmed with, don't be fragile. Don't show weakness, because if you do, these are the things that are going to happen. Now, as a child, you develop these things and you think that's a sense of security. You think, oh, okay, well, if I do this, I'm going to be safe in my life. What ends up happening, though, as you go throughout adulthood, then all of a sudden these things start affecting you in a negative way. They might have been good for your survival in the beginning when you were young. And then going forward, if you don't allow yourself to be fragile, or if you don't allow yourself, like if you think it's, oh, I'm scared if I'm going to be in that position or that energy or those emotions. You think, okay, this isn't safe. I can't experience this at all. So I'm going to be strong no matter what. What can end up happening, this is sort of what was happening with me, is you can end up then denying some of your feelings. You can end up then not being honest with yourself. I recently wrote an article for the Association for Integrative Psychology on being honest with yourself. And the more you can get honest with yourself, the more you can really delve deep into you, the more you're able to be yourself, the more you're able to open up and truly realize what your path is, where you're going, what motivates you, what lights you up. And I got to thinking about the fragile thing. I've been considering making a video on it for a little bit now. And this morning I was doing some yoga. So I'm doing yoga, and for about a year or so, I've been having issues with my hip. And if you study like mind-body connection therapy and stuff like that, you might have heard that the hip is your forward momentum. So if you are not moving forward, if you're not taking steps to move forward, you can end up having different hip problems. So I'm doing yoga, and I notice I'm doing some stretching, and I'm feeling, and I'm like, oh man, you know, there's something still happening here. And I'm like, my hip just feels a little bit fragile today. And I paused and I stopped, and I was like, oh, it's showing up on a physical level as well. So one of the things that some of my friends have pointed out to me, some of my coaches have pointed out to me, that sometimes they're like, hey, how's it going? What's going on with you? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm good. Not necessarily from a lying standpoint, not from a standpoint where I'm being dishonest. And at the same time, I'm not telling the complete truth. Because on some level, am I good? Yes, absolutely. I live in Hawaii right now. I wake up to the ocean every single morning. So on some levels, am I good? I am wonderful, okay? Now, there's also a lot of changes going on in my life, which is causing a disruption in who I would normally be being. There's causing disruption in the way I'm able to express myself in my job. So I'm actually leaving the job I've been working with for 7 or more years. And so it's a lot of change is coming through. And so my instinct is to say like, yeah, I'm good. I'm living back in the place of my birth. How can I not be good, right? However, I've also been allowing myself to be fragile because I am going through some deep changes right now. And I think what happens sometimes, especially for people who are into personal growth and development, I mean, I teach this stuff, right? So I'm like, of course I'm good. I have all these tools. I have all these techniques. And yeah, I'm doing all of my release work, which I am. And at the same time, it's okay to also say, you know what? I'm also struggling because I am going through these changes. Because when a lot of people, they think, oh, great, I released all of these negative emotions. I went to this event, I went to this training, I worked with this coach or this therapist, or I did all of this stuff. I'm fine and perfect and amazing, right? No. Why? This is what I tell my clients all the time, because it's like an onion. So you have the outside of the onion and you're like, ooh, I don't want this outside of the onion. It doesn't look good. It's getting icky. So you peel off that part of the onion and it's all like nice and white and shiny. If it's a white onion, it's all nice and shiny. And you're like, ooh, it's so beautiful. Yes, I'm free. I'm changed. I'm different. I'm amazing now. I'm ready to take on the world. And you go and you're happy and you're going through this stuff. And all of a sudden there's a little dent in your layer of the onion. And you're like, what is this? Why is this now turning brown? Why is this now looking a little bit unhealthy? Why am I now like not experiencing the Garden of Eden? Well, what is happening? Why am I not on cloud 9 anymore? Well, it's because you've grown so much that now you're ready to peel off the next part of the onion. Now you're ready for the next step in your life. And that's a lot of what I've been going through. Is I also live on the part of the Big Island, which this area, it's like considered the pathway of the gods. So Lono, which is one of the Hawaiian gods, he would travel this area. A lot of the kahunas, a lot of the healers, a lot of the ancient energy workers, a lot of the people who worked the land would travel along this particular area. So there's a lot of mana, a lot of energy in this area. And I'm being told by other people who live here that the island will test you. The Aina, the land, it will test you. It will test you and see like, are you ready to be here? Are you, because it's like something that you have to earn. When you move here, it's like you can't just move here. When you move to certain high frequency energy areas, you have to be prepared. Are you able to stay in that frequency? Because if you move to somewhere where there's a high frequency and you're down here in a low frequency, it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out for you. So if you're down in a lower frequency, you're basically being asked to move up to that higher frequency. Now, prior to me moving here, I came to this particular property. I came to this land prior to me moving here. And I had this experience with the land that there was something that needs to be cleared. So I had no idea that this was going on. And there was this particular rental property or rental house on the property. And I was being given a tour of that particular house. And when I was giving the tour, I noticed that there was a lot of energy in a particular room. So this is a 3-bedroom house, and there was a lot of energy in this room. And I asked the person who I was with, I said, hey, do you know that there's this energy here? And we had this conversation about it. And I'm like, well, do you want me to try and, do you want me to do something about it? And he was like, yes. So I'm like, okay. So I was clearing the room and I cleared a bunch of stuff out. And then I was like, there's something underneath the house. And so I asked him, I said, okay, I'm clearing all this stuff out and there's something under the house, and the house is kind of like on a mountain. So part of the house is like, the front part of the house is level with the driveway and the walkway and everything up to the house. So part of it, like the entrance is level and this room is level. But then the other part of the house is like on like stilts and stuff, because the house is here and then the land keeps going down. So I'm like, I thought maybe there might be, like, if we go to the back of the house, maybe there might be a way to see it. So I asked him, I was like, can we see underneath the house? And he's like, yes. So we go out the front door, which is on the top part, and I'm walking out the front door. But again, that particular room is like at the front. And so I walk out the front door, but I'm like, I just need to walk over here. Now I happen to be barefoot at the time, and there's some like gardening shells and stuff like that to wear, not shells, but like mulch and stuff like that. So I'm walking on those and I'm like, I need to touch the ground. I need to touch the grass. So I walk a little bit further, and it's kind of near like the window of this bedroom. And I walk and I touch the grass, and I'm just being guided this whole time. And it's like, okay, walk. Like, so here's the room, and I'm like about here, and it's like, walk up a little bit like this. So I'm walking, there's a little bit of an incline. So I'm kind of like walking up, and I'm walking in this area, and I'm like, it's the ground. So there's something that's not happy here. There's something that's not what the Hawaiians would say pono. There's something that's not pono. And that kind of means right. Not in the like right versus wrong, but congruent. It's more of the sense of, like, in this particular case, it's like there's something that's out of harmony here. And so I'm like, okay, let me figure out what this is. So I kind of squat down to where I'm putting my hands on the aina, on the land. And I'm having this conversation with the land, like, what's going on? And the land is like, it basically wanted to be healed. Like, it was like something was done and it was not happy about it. And so I'm like, okay, this is strange, because now I'm kind of like a little bit further away from the house. And so I'm like, this is strange. Like, what could this be? And so I start asking the person I was with, I was like, hey, is something going on like right around here in this land? And he's like, yes, we had to dig a ditch there to install a propane line. So I'm like, oh, okay. And he's like, can you see well, first I was kind of walking. I'm like, okay, let me find this pipe so I can figure this out. So I'm walking and I'm walking back and forth, and it's about this like 3 to 4 foot area. And I'm like, I can't find this pipe. Like, I don't understand. It's the pipe should not be huge, right? So I ask him, I'm like, okay, well, what is this? Like, and so he's like, well, can you see the propane tank? And I'm like, no. So I walk up the hill just a little bit, and then I see the propane tank, and I'm like, okay, I'm in the right area. And so I ask him some more questions. Well, I'm not, I don't do construction. I don't install pipes and stuff like that. And so I wasn't thinking about it. The trench they had to dig was about the 3 to 4 foot size. So the trench that they dug was larger than, I'm picturing this. So I'm picturing maybe, less than half a foot or so. So anyway, I'm like, oh, okay, I am in the right area. And so I was talking with the aina, with the land, and it basically was very disturbed about this trench being dug in this particular area. So I was having this conversation with the land and everything, and basically at the end of the conversation, they were like, will you stay? And it just so happens that I was going back to the mainland, because I used to live in Texas, and so I was going back to the mainland. And I'm like, well, no, I'm leaving. And it's like, will you come back? And I'm like, well, I come here every 6 months, so maybe, sure, I'll come back and visit. And, maybe other things will happen too. And so it was like, no, I want you to come back. And I'm like, I don't know about that, right? So we're having all this conversation, and it turns out then later I talked to the person that I was with, and he was like, yes, actually this whole thing happened with the trench. He said that he got a vision like the night before the trench was supposed to be dug, and the land told him, the land was like, you cannot have this particular person digging the ditch. You have to ask somebody else to do it, and blah, blah, blah. Well, the next morning he went and he told the person who would normally be digging the ditch, like, you can't do it. Can you get one of your other workers? Why am I telling you cannot do it? And the guy was like, no, I got this. But everything's fine. A little bit later, he actually got a phone call from the guy like, hey, I just threw it on my back. I can't do this ditch today. We got to like stop the project for right now. So yes, the land was very unhappy. And my goals were to move back to the islands, just not anywhere near this soon. I had some other things I need to take care of in Texas, and I did not expect to be moving to the islands now. And, you know, sometimes when you put goals in your future, sometimes they happen a little bit earlier than you expected. And when that happens, it's because, well, you're ready for it. You're meant for it. Along with this, a lot of other things shifted as well. So when I was in Texas, there were other certain things going on in my life to where, yes, I was on the road. Yes, I was training. However, I was on the road about half of the time or so, like half home, half on the road. And one of the things that happened is I was asked to be on the road more. And I'm like, oh, I cannot do that right now at all. Another thing that happened is that the house I was at in Texas, a tree fell on it, and I was out of town. And I was renting at the time. So I called the rental company. Hey, tree's there. I sent the pictures because the person who watches my house sent me pictures of the tree. And so I'm sending them these pictures. Well, I fly back home. This is like weeks later. Tree's still there. I walk in the guest bathroom. There's like mold all over the ceiling. Long story short, they were going to have to tear down 3 different walls, the ceiling, like all of this stuff. And so like, I got to move. Well, universe was like, guess where you're moving to? And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that right now. That's not happening. Well, you know, sometimes you have to listen to your source, because lots of other things started happening after that. There was like, no, you're moving. You think you're cute and like you think you're not going to move. Guess what? You are. Here's the things that you're doing now. So here I am. Now, at the same time, because of the move, because things shifted, I ended up telling the company that I was working for, hey, guess what? I actually can now start being on the road more. In the meantime, for various reasons, it started just not working out. Maybe I'll talk about that in a future video, but basically lots of things started going sideways, and I was basically like, okay, I'm out. I can't do this anymore. So again, lots of disruptions, so lots of things happening, and I went into my old pattern of, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm making it. I'm okay. In the meantime, I'm struggling inside. In the meantime, I'm going, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I know there's lots of things. I have lots of other things coming up. I can just simply increase my coaching intake. I could only coach a couple of clients because I was working too much. At one point I had 4 jobs. I was vice president of enrollment. I was vice president of operations. I was director of the coaching program, and I was a trainer. Major burnout. Different video. You can go watch it. Point though is, I couldn't do my coaching business as much as I wanted to. I could only handle, a client or 2 because I had too many other things going on my plate. Plus I was doing YouTube. Plus I was being a mom. Plus I was, you name it, I was trying to do it. So now, currently moving forward, I know I can do this on my own, which I am. I've got lots of stuff coming up for you guys, like lots of exciting news for you all. So very excited to announce some of that stuff, not now, but later. In the meantime, yes, expanding my coaching business. So yes, I I know there's things that it's easy for me to do, things I love to do. And in the meantime, I had an attachment to working for this company because I loved my job. I loved what I did. And it was, there's lots of things that I will probably be coming out with later, but in the meantime, I will just say that the part of the job that I absolutely loved was going and traveling to teach students how to be better. When I took these trainings taught me, these teachings taught me how to be better. So I want to share that with others. I want to share with others these different breakthroughs that I went through, these different changes that I went through, to be able to be here now, to be able to be on my path, be me, experiencing the life that I'm meant to live. Whole point of these videos, right, is to help others experience that as well. So with the thing about being fragile, do you allow yourself to feel that energy? I normally wouldn't be doing a video in my yoga outfit. However, while I was doing yoga, I got so inspired and I'm like, no, I need to make this video. I have been kind of, not necessarily putting it off, but I've been extremely busy building my new life. And so I'm like, no, today I need to make this video. I was like, maybe I'll make it on Saturday, maybe I'll make it on Sunday. No, I'm making it right now. So here I am right after yoga doing this video and being fragile, being vulnerable, being open, sharing with all of you the importance of being fragile. Because here's the thing, I thought that being fragile was weak. I thought that it wasn't safe. I thought sometimes I can't tell people my honest, down to the core, deep truth because that's not being strong. And here's the thing, if you hold that inside and if you think, well, if I'm seen as fragile to other people, then they're not going to think that I'm strong, you're 100% incorrect. People, they are accepting of you, especially your friends, especially people who care about you, people who are invested in your life, your family members, the people who you can go to people to be able to say, you know what? I'm struggling with something. Can I vent to you? If they're a coach, hey, I'm struggling with something. Can I just vent for a minute? I know most coaches are like, no venting. No venting. We want to take action. I don't want to listen to you complain all day, which is true. And yes, you can vent. So go to your coach and just say, hey, I just need some vent time right now. And then yes, I'll take action to get myself out of this. Because if you just stay in the energy of, I'm good, everything's fine, you end up staying stuck. And when you end up staying stuck, then there's no momentum. When there's no momentum, there's no inspiration, there's no creativity, and you just are not honest with yourself. And when you're not honest with yourself, you can't live your life to the fullest. So I encourage you, be vulnerable, be fragile, make a video in your yoga outfit, admit, hey, I've got this thing going on with my leg right now. Admit that, hey, there's certain things that I am working through right now. Because once I work through them, then I'm going to have another layer of that onion peeled off. And I'm going to be shining even brighter. I'm going to be shining even more. So don't be afraid. Don't be scared. Don't think it makes you weak. Don't think you're not strong if you're fragile, because here's the thing that I found out. You're actually stronger if you can be fragile. If you can admit that you're not okay. And please don't misunderstand this for whining. I'm not saying be a victim. I'm not saying whine about it. I'm not saying make this your story, make this your life. What I am saying is that it's okay to not be strong all the time, because within that, when you're able to admit that you're not strong in this moment, that is actually strength. When you're able to be honest with yourself and say, I'm not okay right now. That is strength. When you are open to be fragile and sharing that fragility with people who can help you, that is strength. So I encourage you, you don't have to put on a front all the time. You don't have to put on this mask of like, yes, I am this amazing, strong person. Nothing can shake me. I am a rock. I am solid. I am the greatest person in the world. And I can't ever share that I'm not okay. Because that's no one. No one has that life. No one. Maybe like, Gandhi or the Buddha or Mother Teresa maybe. But no, actually, you've seen them struggle too. You've seen people like that go through struggles too. Look at all the struggles Jesus went through if you believe in that story. And as always, in everything, please choose love in all that you do, and strength, and be vulnerable, and be fragile. Aloha, take care. Until next time, mahalo. It'd be awesome if I had a big rock that I could be like, I mean, I've got plenty of big rocks, but like, that's part of the wall. It's not that big, but something's crawling on me. Something's still crawling on me. This actually isn't that heavy. It looks heavier than it is. I feel ridiculous. Gotta get that cover picture. All right, hopefully one of those works. I got bit by an ant earlier, and so now I keep looking at my feet. Like, the grass is tickling me because I'm barefoot, and I keep thinking like something's crawling on me, but it's not. I keep like rubbing my feet like, what is on me? But there's nothing there. Sometimes so much wants to come through at once that I get like brain tied.